Hi, everyone. I'm so thrilled to be wrapping up this amazing RallyFwd Virtual Conference, which has been all about talent acquisition innovation, because I get to discuss what is really the biggest innovation that's happening around us. And of course, I'm talking about artificial intelligence. Everyone's talking about AI, right? From excitement to optimism to confusion and even fear. All of those emotions are valid because we're at the dawn of something so transformational, we can't know what's ahead, only that there's no going back. AI will touch every part of our lives, especially our jobs. And that's what I want to talk with you about today, which is what AI will mean for us in HR, talent acquisition, and recruitment marketing. Because at this very moment, each of us must decide to stay relevant or fall behind. We have to take control of our skills to become AI ready, or if we're slow to adapt, I can pretty much guarantee that your career will fall behind. That might sound like a bold statement meant to shock you, but I'm speaking from experience. Multiple times in my career, when a technology transformation happened, I had to consciously take control of my professional future. For example, I once worked for a company whose CEO didn't want employees using social media, and that went for me too in marketing. Social media made our CEO and our corporate attorneys scared. I know some of you can relate to this. I had been so caught up by this internal battle of trying to build the business case for us to have a social presence and to support our employees to have a social presence that it took me almost a year to realize that my marketing skills were becoming outdated. I actually told my CEO that I couldn't stay at the company any longer if he continued to stop us from using social media, because it wasn't just that the company was going to become irrelevant. My own career was on the line. If you can relate to working at a company and being blocked from adopting new technology for whatever reason, not enough budget, people above you don't get it, or you're so buried you just don't have the time to try something new, or if you can relate to seeing new technology disrupt your company and even your job, then my session today is for you. AI will transform our companies and how we do our jobs. And I wholly believe that this is your opportunity to advance your career in this new age of talent acquisition and recruitment marketing. In this session, I want to help you seize this opportunity to become AI ready, and not only for the benefit of your company, but for your own career. I'll discuss the impact of AI on your company and your job, the opportunity that AI presents to rethink your value, key considerations for leveraging AI ethically and responsibly, the skills you'll need, and what you can do to lead the AI transformation in your team and at your company. Let's start by looking at how AI could impact our profession. I think that we are in an exciting place at an exciting time. If you're responsible for attracting, hiring, and retaining the best people for your organization, you know that all the people that you attracted to your company and hired this past year were really important to the strategy in this past year. But did you evaluate their skills and their capabilities for the roles that you only need to fill now, or what your company is going to need in the next 2, 3, or 5 years from now? The makeup of the roles and the skills needed for your company to succeed will change faster than you may be preparing for. Global consulting firm McKinsey estimates that by 2030, activities that account for up to 30% of hours currently worked across the U.S. economy could be automated, a trend that's being accelerated by AI. Accenture puts the number at 40%. They identified 200 tasks related to language and assessed which tasks had higher potential to be automated and augmented by AI. And as a result, they estimate that 40% of working hours will be impacted by large language models, which is the foundational technology behind generative AI tools like ChatGPT. Before I go further, I realize that I've already thrown out several acronyms, and we're all still learning about AI. So I thought I would be cheeky and ask ChatGPT to explain AI, and it gave me a description of the 7 types of AI, noting that ChatGPT, which we've all heard of by now, and many of you have used as well, is in the category of artificial narrow intelligence and specializes in generating content, hence why it's called generative AI. This answer was far too complex for me, so I asked ChatGPT to create an image showing the different types of AI. After I calmed down that the apocalypse hadn't come, I asked ChatGPT to draw the image again, but not so scary looking this time. And then I literally laughed out loud, because if you look closely at ChatGPT, which I believe uses the largest language model in the world, can't spell when it creates illustrations. When we think of AI, the first AI that comes to mind is ChatGPT. It was just 1 year ago that ChatGPT became available to the public and unleashed AI to the masses. ChatGPT generates human language because it's trained on a vast amount of data, so it can recognize and replicate complex language patterns and generate content in a very nuanced way. In other words, very intelligently. I went to a conference in Boston last spring, and there was a keynote from Dr. Ramakrishnan, who is a professor of data science and machine learning at MIT, and he explained ChatGPT to us very simply. He said, ChatGPT analyzes the text in your prompt and responds by predicting the next most likely word or phrase based on all the text that it's been trained on. Just think of that for a moment. It has a machine learning algorithm that predicts what words and phrases should come next in a sequence because it's what other people have written before. Generative AI tools are truly innovative, but they're not original thinkers. ChatGPT is certainly the most well-known, but there are other generative AI tools available, including Bard, which is developed by Google. And we recently launched Rally AI, which is an AI recruitment marketing assistant that's part of our Rally Inside recruitment marketing platform. Why is there so much attention on generative AI? Well, because of its potential to automate tasks that humans do today, and in some cases, do them better than humans. In the Accenture report that I referenced earlier, Accenture looked at which job functions had a higher potential for automation and the use of AI. Look here at the top of the report. This is us in HR, recruiting, recruitment marketing, employer branding, and talent operations. In September, Indeed published a report that looked at the skills required for various job functions based on an analysis of job postings on their site and cross-referenced that with the capabilities of generative AI and found that generative AI won't be displacing drivers or your hairstylists anytime soon, but can do a lot of the work done today by HR, recruiting, and marketing. I know this can feel disconcerting, but change can bring opportunity. When how you do your job changes, it brings an opportunity to redefine what your job is. In other words, what value you bring to your organization. With AI here bringing about a new era of talent acquisition, it's a tremendous opportunity to rethink your value. How many of you know what this picture is? Before LinkedIn, this is where your contacts lived. In business cards taped inside Rolodexes, or you'd handwrite contact information on Rolodex cards. Rolodexes were more than a desk accessory. They were a symbol of status and success and seniority. The fatter the Rolodex, the more connected and important you were. By the way, they're still being sold. Who knew, right? On Amazon, you can buy a new Rolodex for $15, about the same cost for a vintage one on eBay. I hated business cards. You know why? Because as the marketing person, when we would come back from trade shows, I was responsible for collecting business cards from all the salespeople who were at the show, entering the business card details into a spreadsheet, and then eventually into a CRM, because I was responsible for lead generation. And if I didn't capture the lead, how could we nurture them via email or track whether or not a new sale came from a contact we made at the trade show? And now today, event marketers can't live without badge scanners and lead retrieval systems. Instead of the hassle and tediousness of data entry, marketers and salespeople alike can focus on creating personalized outreach and turning that lead into a new sale faster, shortening time to revenue for the company. How often are you frustrated that you can't spend the time doing the things that you really love doing because you're bogged down by mundane, repetitive tasks? What tasks would you gladly give up so that you had time to try new strategies or lead new projects and actually grow in your career? Remember life before Google search, or before you could ask Alexa or Siri a question? Now we have smart homes and smart TVs and smart cars. Hell, my mobile phone feels like an extension of my arm at this point. Who would want to go back to how things were done before? I sure don't, and I imagine you don't either. We're moving beyond computers helping us find information or answering questions to doing small tasks for us. The promise of AI is that it can make our lives better at home and at work. And as we move into a new year, one that will bring change, I think, faster than we've ever experienced before, I highly encourage you and your team to proactively look at your talent acquisition process and your entire employee life cycle for that matter, and to break down all of the steps and systems and people that are involved in achieving the business outcomes you desire, and ask, where can AI make an impact? What can AI automate for us or do better than us? And crucially, what are the limitations of AI, or what should we never have AI do on our behalf? That's just one of the many critical questions about the responsible use of AI. Because we're in the people business, I think this is where our voice and our leadership is so crucial on issues such as bias, discrimination, and privacy. There are a lot of initiatives happening right now across the world where AI technology vendors, business leaders, labor, academia, and government are coming together to look at AI in a comprehensive way and leverage its potential for good, while also recognizing the risks to our society, economy, and security. At the end of October, President Biden issued a sweeping executive order on the safe, secure, and trustworthy development and use of AI. I highly recommend reading the executive order, and in particular to search for the words job, recruit, work, and talent. The very first paragraph talks about the risks of AI to exacerbate societal harms of bias and discrimination, and the potential to displace workers and disempower them. Even before there are regulations at the federal level, there are a number of U.S. states and cities that are enacting laws to regulate the use of AI in hiring. And one of the most notable is New York City, which requires companies using AI to notify candidates that an automated hiring system is being used. Now we have a new acronym to be concerned about. Is your recruiting or hiring software considered to be an automated employment decision tool? AEDT. The National Law Review has a really good article on the clarity of New York City's definition of an AEDT. Generally speaking, it's when a computer is making decisions about hiring or promotions. And if so, employers must complete and publish a bias audit. It wasn't long ago that HR tech vendors started introducing technology to remove bias, whether conscious or unconscious, from the hiring process. We have to remember that AI systems are making recommendations or decisions based on algorithms, and we need more transparency into the algorithms and the data they're being trained on to ensure that they're not doing more harm than good. OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, has a usage policy and says that it doesn't allow the use of their AI models for the automated determinations of eligibility for employment. They don't want to be an AEDT. Our Rally Inside tool uses the same technology as ChatGPT, except it's being trained on our recruitment marketing best practices and proprietary data about how to do recruitment marketing effectively. We also don't want to be an AEDT, and we're building in safeguards that will prevent these use cases because we believe hiring decisions should be left to humans. Major technology companies are pledging the safe development of AI. It's voluntary right now as the US, EU, and other governments work to put laws and regulations in place. We're also seeing an increasing number of HR tech and recruiting companies publishing their policies and principles for the responsible use of AI in their products and services. I actually think we're going to see all major companies publish their responsible AI policy, just like they publish their data privacy policy. And not just because it's demanded by regulators or their customers, but because I believe workers will want to know as well, because their jobs will be affected. In recruitment marketing, we're already proactive about communicating our company's commitment to DEI and social justice, to sustainability and the environment. During COVID, candidates wanted to know how we were supporting our employees and their ability to work from home. More recently, it's pay transparency. And next, it will be the responsible use of AI. Be prepared to not only recite your company's policy, but to show responsible use of AI in action from the experiences of your employees. Get your managers prepared to answer questions from employees and candidates about how their job might be effective, what retraining programs will be in place, because people will become increasingly concerned about job security. There's another risk in using AI that I want to raise, and that is, how do we ensure the authenticity of our employer brand in this new era of talent acquisition? In April, there was an article in the New York Times entitled, "Can We No Longer Believe Anything We See?" And it was about the incredible realism of AI-generated images and the risks of disinformation. So let me ask you, looking at these two images, can you guess which one was created by AI? Take the poll on Slido right now and choose either left or right. Remember, you're choosing which image was created by artificial intelligence. Research shows that it's getting harder for us to tell the difference. There was an article last month in The Guardian that shared the results of an international study in which participants had to look at a series of faces of white people and had to guess which was real and which was generated by AI. The results were that 66% of AI images were rated as human compared to 51% of real images, meaning people thought more of the AI images were real. And if that doesn't scare you, how about this? The team that did the research developed a machine learning algorithm that identified human images with 94% accuracy. So machines can identify humans better than humans can identify humans. Manipulation of photographs has been around since photography was invented. Today, we're all using filters and blurring. It's standard with our mobile phones, and software like Photoshop and Canva are getting more and more sophisticated and easier to use. I raised the topic of AI-generated images because I think we need to be aware of the potential implications for employer branding. We all know that we shouldn't use stock images in employer branding. We know that our career site and social channels should feature real photos of our employees. But it's not easy to get great photos with the right composition, good lighting, photos where our office or facility looks inviting, and of course, photos that show the diversity of our team. This is a stock photo that I downloaded from iStock. I searched for this photo by typing in diverse team collaborating in a modern office. And this is an image generated by AI. I used ChatGPT and DALL-E to create an image of 4 diverse people who are happy and working in an office, collaborating on a project. How do you think it compares to the stock photo I just showed you? This image isn't photorealistic, so I don't think it's hard to tell that it isn't real. But what about this one? I generated this with Adobe Firefly, another AI image generator, and it's a lot more photorealistic. My son thought it was real. Until I showed him this version, I used an AI tool called Photor to put my face on the person in the middle. By the way, I wish I had her hair, but seriously, let's think about this from an employer brand perspective. Imagine a group photo taken at your office and one person in the photo is no longer with your company. In the past, we might have cropped that person out of the photo or maybe even photoshopped them out. But today, it's just as easy to replace that person's face. If you want to show more diversity, why not use AI to generate the image? There's a lot of discussion about the ethics of AI-generated images, primarily for the risk of creating fake people and portraying them as real, or showing real people in fake situations. Today, the organization called Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity, or C2PA for short, has introduced an official content credentials icon of transparency to create trust with digital content. It's kind of like a digital nutrition label for content. And companies like Adobe, Microsoft, camera company Nikon, and advertising company Publicis Group are all behind it. So I asked Microsoft Bing's image creator to create an image of 4 diverse people working in a modern office collaborating on a project. As you can see, there's a content credentials mark in the metadata of the file. That's great, but what about the fact that all the people portrayed are young and beautiful? Yes, we want to make our employer brands appealing, and yes, we're all working to increase diversity in our organizations, but we have to be authentic about our company today, and that includes who works at our company, even if we don't have the full representation that we're striving for. If creating AI images of people in certain situations feels like it's crossing a line, guess what? Advertisers are doing it already. This is a quote from an article in Advertising Week written by someone who works for an AI image generation company. He writes, AI-generated images have the potential to drive greater diversity and inclusion, ensuring that marketing campaigns resonate with diverse audiences. AI can generate images that authentically represent various ethnicities, body types, abilities, and identities. Well, obviously not the last AI-generated image that I showed you. There may be value in using AI-generated images for product marketing, but I think we should be very careful about using AI to portray our employees at work. We will hear lots more on the topic of labeling AI-generated content. The social media platforms have already begun implementing requirements to label image, audio, and video content that's been generated by AI or significantly edited by AI. The social media companies will also automatically add labels to content they detect that's been generated by AI. And it's something for us to be aware of as we promote our employer brand and company culture on social media. Here's another AI-generated image. This one is depicting AI-generated text. Look at how complex this thing is. Geez. But seriously, what about the ethics of using AI to write for us? ChatGPT says that if you publish content created by ChatGPT, that you must indicate that the content is AI generated in a way that no user could reasonably miss or misunderstand. LinkedIn recommends that you let people know if it isn't obvious from the context. If you've relied heavily on AI to help create or modify the content in your post. Well, I searched for the hashtag written by AI on LinkedIn and some similar hashtags, and clearly no one seems to be following LinkedIn's guidance. As AI becomes a productivity tool and part of our day-to-day work, I think we're going to have to assume that everything that is written will be at a minimum helped with AI. Documents, emails, presentations, blog posts, social media posts. It's unrealistic to think everything will be labeled. I'm not involved in setting industry standards, but I think it's about integrity and accountability. If you put your name or your company's name to it, you have to take responsibility for what's being published. Otherwise, you will lose all trust with your audience. It's why with our Rally AI tool, there's no automated publishing of any content created by our tool. It requires you to review, edit, improve, add your own expertise and empathy and humor. That's part of our commitment to responsible AI. Rally AI is an assistant that's here to help you, not to replace your judgment. And your judgment is just one of the qualities that your organization needs as you help build the workforce it needs in the coming years. But what other skills will be valuable to your career in this new era of talent acquisition and recruitment marketing? A term that we will all start to talk about, if you're not talking about it already, is AI talent. It will become a priority in the hiring plan of every company, every government institution, every agency. I don't think that we should limit the term AI talent to the engineers who will develop the AI technology. We have to include the people who will decide how AI will be implemented, who will manage AI-based systems, do strategic workforce planning, train employees to use AI, manage organizational change created by AI's adoption, ensure fairness and promote equality, protect and guide the evolution of company culture, as well as provide governance, compliance, and accountability. You are AI talent. You are the best example of an AI-enabled knowledge worker. Employers need people like you who know how to shape the workforce of the future. As you incorporate AI into your recruiting and marketing processes and learn to work in new ways assisted by AI, there are 6 sets of skills that I believe will be essential. The first is AI prompt engineering. This is a skill that will be listed on everyone's resume. Prompt engineering is how do you instruct the AI to do tasks for you? It's more complex than typing a keyword into a search engine. You need to know how to ask it questions. I've found that this is a skill that you learn best by trial and error, and frankly, that's part of the fun. Number 2 is editing for your audience. Not having to write something from scratch can be a tremendous time saver. With generative AI, you can create new content endlessly, but the output still needs your personal touch. It will shift your skill set from being a good writer to being a good editor, which requires a deep understanding of your talent audience and a command of your subject matter. The third is persuasive and empathetic communication. One of the important skills that a great HR manager, a great recruiter, and a great recruitment marketer have in common is communication. But not just plain old communication, specifically persuasive and empathetic communication. After all, you're convincing someone to want to make a pretty big life decision, which is to work for your company and accept your job offer and stay for a while. While AI can help you personalize and tailor your communication, it may never be as convincing as you can be when tapping into someone's needs and motivations or ensuring that your communication is genuinely empathetic. Number 4 is data insights and analysis. AI tools can be used to perform calculations and recognize patterns much faster and more precisely than any of us can do manually. But you have the professional experience, the context, and the understanding to interpret the data and draw out meaningful insights for your recruiting strategy. Analytical skills will move from having experience with spreadsheets to having the ability to synthesize data and evaluate its relevance. And this leads me to number 5, which is critical thinking, strategic planning, and decision making. I don't envision a day anytime soon where your AI tool will replace you at the next strategy meeting. Sorry. You will be relied upon to define the business problem. And while you can use AI for modeling and simulations to suggest solutions to specific problems, to write plans and create outlines, even when AI makes recommendations, especially when AI makes recommendations related to hiring and promotions, you must remain in the driver's seat to make the final decision. Ultimately, your organization is looking to you to get it right when it comes to consequential decisions, and that places a high value on your experience and your judgment. And finally, the 6th skill set is curiosity, collaboration, and caring. These soft skills have never been more important. It's difficult to predict all the ways that AI will change recruiting and how we do our jobs. So it will be important that we build our teams with people who have the ability and desire to learn, grow, work together, and adapt quickly. In the age of artificial intelligence, we will place an even greater value on emotional intelligence. So the most important thing is that nothing can replace our innate sense of caring for each other's well-being and mental health, and the impact that these changes will have on people's lives. I'd love to help you get AI ready. I'm launching a new course this January called Practical AI for talent acquisition, recruitment marketing, and employer branding professionals. This training will teach you the fundamentals of AI and its practical applications in your day-to-day work to attract, engage, and recruit talent. You'll also gain hands-on experience using our new Rally AI tool to develop key skills around AI prompt engineering to conduct research, develop strategies, create engaging content, and analyze your results. If you'd like to learn more, you can go to rally.careers/AI-training, and I'll be sure to add that link into Slido. As we wrap up today, I want to say that the transition to AI-driven recruitment isn't just about new technologies or new skills. It's also about leading a cultural shift in how we work and how we organize and operate going forward. And this is an opportunity for you to lead. If you take away one thing from my presentation today, I hope it's that you won't wait for changes to be put upon you. We need your leadership to drive these changes forward. And here are 3 ways that you can get started. Become proficient in AI. Learn enough to have a knowledgeable conversation about AI with both your IT team and your leadership. You don't need engineering level expertise, but you will need to learn how AI works, understand its limitations, and AI's potential. I'd also recommend getting hands-on and experimenting with tools like ChatGPT and our own Rally AI. Number 2, plan for AI in your recruitment tech stack. I place a bet that some of the recruiting systems and channels that you use today already utilize AI. So dig in, meet with your existing vendors to learn about their current capabilities and product roadmaps. And this is very important, see demos of competing products and new tools available to discover how other vendors are innovating. I promise there's a lot of innovation happening right now in talent acquisition and recruitment marketing. So don't forget to check out the technology showcase here at RallyFwd. And lastly, identify where AI can make an impact. Develop a list of prioritized use cases for AI that will improve your own job and the function of your team. A great place to start is to demonstrate how AI can help you become more productive and save time so that you can focus on higher value work that will lead to more successful hiring outcomes. Ultimately, I believe the individuals, teams, and organizations that will be the most successful are those who will make AI a core competency. I hope that you'll embrace this new era with an open mind and a willingness to adapt. It will require striking a careful balance between the potential of AI technology while preserving human experience and insight, and while caring about the impact that AI will have on people, including our employees and candidates. And who better to lead the change but you? Thank you so much for watching my closing session here at RallyFwd. It's been a wonderful opportunity to speak to you about becoming AI ready. It's a topic that I'm really passionate about, and I hope to support you with this in the months and years ahead. Please reach out and connect with me on LinkedIn. And as always, let me know if there's anything that I can do to support you in your career. Thank you.